So this is the thing that annoys me about Facebook Live. You've got to sit here now for a minute and wait,
an audience.
and wait people. They are going to be changing this soon though. What Facebook is going to be doing is waiting rooms. So you can set a time that you're going to be in. People can wait, and then when the button goes, bang. So you don't sit here looking like a knob.
Yeah, no, I generally try and, so if I was going to go on tonight, I would tell them, be on at 1900, or send out a direct mailing.
Yeah.
Try and get them prepped and ready.
Howdy, how are you? Jimbo, I absolutely loved that video, using my book as a frisbee. Genius. My wife's on, well, that helps, that's good, isn't it?
That's good, she knows where you are.
Matt, how are you? Shannon, how are you? Shannon's downstairs. Well, at least I've got family and friends on here. Victoria, how are you? Darren, how are you? So, today, I have a very special guest. If you have been on my Mindset with Muscle, if you haven't,
you should.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Anyway, what episode? It was about 4 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, I had Mr. Mark Ormrod here on to discuss his story, to discuss his background, etc, etc, etc. And, you know, he's been on a bit of a crazy whirlwind the last... Starting 10 years?
9 years on Christmas Eve.
9 years on Christmas Eve. So for those of you who don't know, Mark, could you give us a little bit of a background as to what happened to you 9 years ago?
I could. So like Jamie, I'm former military. I was a Royal Marine from 17 years old. And on Christmas Eve 2007, I was serving in Afghanistan, first tour of Afghanistan. 3.5 months into the deployment, while I was out on a routine foot patrol, roughly 200 meters from the gate of our camp we were working from as we were going back in, I stood on and detonated an improvised explosive device. The result of that being, I lost both my legs below the knee, here they are, and I now have this fancy little Peter Pan accessory. As a hand, so I'm missing 3 limbs above all the major joints, which makes life a little bit more interesting.
So, you know, we spoke about this on the podcast, Mark, and we spoke about, I think we spoke about this a little bit a minute ago, about coping mechanisms. And I think the main thing is that, you know, you go from Afghanistan, and then suddenly you wake up and you're in the UK, and obviously, you know, you've lost 3 limbs. Mm-hmm. What goes through your head then? You know, because you dealt with it pretty well. And what I mean by that is that, you know, one thing that I thought was amazing when you spoke to me on the podcast is that you just went, right, this is it, this is what's happened, what do I do about it? So what was your kind of thought process when that happened?
And that was it. And I've questioned it a lot over the years, you know, but the cold hard truth is, when you go through something like that and you wake up, you're going to go one of 2 ways. You're going to go down and you're going to look at everything negatively and ask why me, and blame everyone around you and focus on the shit in your life. Or, you know, and I know I was very lucky, but I went the other way and I woke up and I thought, okay, this has happened. I can't do anything about it. The only thing I can do is focus on the good stuff in my life now. You know, so gents, you'll get this. The first thing I did was check my nuts, and they were still there, and they still work. I've had 2 extra children since, so I was very grateful for that, and that was one of the good things that I focused on. You know, I had an amazing team of highly trained professionals around me that were going to get me, excuse the pun, but back on my feet as soon as I could, and that's what they did.
Do you have people like apologising? Because you know when you have someone from you know, things like that. You know, they go, oh, I didn't mean to stand you up, and you're like, fuck. It's like, no, you know what I mean? And people are like trying to like mince their words with you, and you're like, no, it's all right. Mm-hmm. I'm a Royal Marine, I've got banter.
No, there are the wrong, you know, I've been out on nights out and that in the past, and you get the usual, oh, let's get Legless, you know, the usual crap, and I can, you know, I'm good with all that, you know, I love all that stuff, it is banter, but you do get on the other side of it, and it's, I don't mean this disrespectfully, but with civilians, they don't understand completely the mentality of military guys. So they very much, you can sense the nerves from them when they get, not all of them, but some of them, when you're in a room, you walk into like a doctor's surgery, and people are reading their magazines, they look up and then they're like, oh shit, where do I look? You know, there's a guy with 3 limbs.
And I think it's a normal human tendency, because it's like, I think the last thing that you want from people is to feel like that. You know, completely. You're just like, right, fucking hell, calm down. You know, I'm here. You know, I'm fine. But I think what's inspiring with that, Mark, is that so many people, and it is, you know, we've just been having a chat for an hour, ladies and gents, and a lot of things that we were talking about is perspective. You know, there's a lot of people out there with a lot of problems in their life, and to be honest, most of them aren't that bad. And it's just having perspective on a lot of things. You know, something that I speak a lot about is gratitude, and actually being grateful for the things that you have in life, but also for the things that you know are successful with. And I think that so many people highlight the shit in their life rather than the things that are going well. And it seems to be a normal reaction to just look at the bad stuff instead of thinking, well, what is good about my life? And actually, sometimes with the whole gratitude thing, a lot of people think it's kind of get your joss sticks out and you kind of
hug a tree.
And you start hugging a tree. In actual fact, it's not, because so many people are so focused on everything that's going wrong in their life or everything that they want to get to. Oh, I want to lose 10 stone, or I want to have the business I want, instead of actually going, I've got a roof over my head, I've got a wife, I've got kids, you know, I'm happy. All this other stuff is just a bonus. But what happens is when you have that kind of mentality, and this is what we were speaking about, amazing things start happening too, because you just change your kind of perspective on things. You become a lot more grateful, you give back a lot more to people, and you have this aura about you where it's just, you know, it's inspiring. And you know, for the last 9 years you've been jumping on every stage around the world talking about your story. And you know, I think more people need to hear these kind of things and to have this kind of perspective on life, really, because most people, you know, it's not that bad, you know.
I mean, you touched on it earlier when you said most people will get up in the morning on a Monday, right, and they'll drag themselves out of bed, and for some reason everyone's anchored to think that Monday's the worst day in the world, and really it's not. They'll flick the news on, they'll hear about a terrorist attack or people that have been killed somewhere, or something negative, and then they hop in the car and, you know they're going to get stuck in a traffic jam, and they're listening to garbage on the radio, and then you said they get to work and they're in that state of mind where life's terrible. And you have to consciously, and it takes effort, you have to consciously recognise that and then change it. So like you do, you get up and you go for your walk, you do your Snapchatting, you know, I listen to, you know, I leave here and put on an audio book or a podcast when I'm driving to London in a minute, and I will almost force myself to hear positivity every day, and you have to do it. And then, like you said, that becomes your focus. Then you seem to attract. I just told you about the phone calls I had just now, and I was sat in my car, and I have never felt so overwhelmed in my life. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but the phone calls I was having just now from the support that's coming in for the project I've got next year was phenomenal.
And you know, this is something that I just said, you know, to Mark before, of me sharing. You know, the last couple of weeks I've been completely overwhelmed. You know, we did the Peggy charity push a couple of weeks ago, which completely blew me away. Really, huge amounts of overwhelm. I've been like crying. I've been crying, right? I haven't been crying, but I've been a little bit teary. You know, like when you watch Marley and Me, and yeah, you know it's a film, but still, it's nearly there. Anyway, and then of course the podcast went mental. You know, over 30,000 downloads, and then the book in 8 hours. All you lovely people purchased it, and it went to #1 bestseller. So thank you for that. But it's very overwhelming. But what I said to Mark about is that all of this happens for a reason, and it's a reason because your heart's in the right place, you're consistent with what it is that you do, you reframe everything negative in your life into something positive, because you realise, look, what's the worst that can happen? You know, and this is where people want to have that perspective. You might be having a crap day now, you might be having a crap week, but is it really that bad? Really? And when you start reframing things like that, you know, you start getting in a better mood, you stop being as stressed, and guess what? Better things start happening to you because less people think you're a bell end. and I'm being honest with this, you know, if you're in a negative mood and you start being negative, it's what I spoke about in my podcast before. It's a kind of self-fulfilling prophecy, because less people want to be around you because you're just a whinge bag. But then when you're more positive, more people want to be around you because you make them feel good. And because you make them feel good, they make you feel good. And then you're always feeling good.
Everyone feels good. And then we hug trees.
Then we go back to the tree hugging. I've got to be careful because I keep putting my head forward and then my head looks twice as big as yours.
And I have a large head.
It's going to come back like so. So yeah, I mean, it's so nice to sit and talk to Mark about all these things, and yeah, it's nice for me to actually physically see my podcast guests as well, because I've learned so much over the last year, over the last 2 years, from just talking to people, sharing stories, and just understanding people. You know, because the thing about psychology, the thing about people is it doesn't change that much. Some of the greatest books that are out there are about 70, 80 years old. There are some amazing books out there too, such as, what's your book called, Mark?
Well, mine's...
Plug quick.
Man Down.
So, Mark has a book called Man Down. And obviously, as you know, because this is my channel, I have Mindset with Muscle. And a lot of it talks about our experiences. Something I spoke to Mark about, because you went to a Tony Robbins event, didn't you?
I've been to all of them and now a senior leader within the organisation.
Fantastic. So, Tony Robbins, senior leader, absolutely fantastic. But one thing that Mark was saying was that a lot of other motivational speakers, which he listens to on these things, seem to be like carbon copies of Tony. Because what tends to happen with a lot of motivational speakers, so to speak, is that they're doing it because someone like Tony has inspired them, but they haven't learned necessarily the things that they need to know for themselves. And what I mean by that is that a lot of people read books, a lot of people listen to people, and they don't find out what information is relevant to them. And what I mean by that is so many people regurgitate the same thing that other people say, instead of thinking, right, what that person said doesn't mean anything to me, it doesn't really serve me. However, what that person said about that, I can relate to that, and then articulate that in your own way. My book is a combination of everything that I've listened, every person that I've listened to, everything that I've read, and what I've done is I've put that down, I've got my crayon out, and I've started painting my little crayon pictures into my Mindset with Muscle book. And that's how I see the world and share my story. Now, some people, some of those chapters are going to be the most relatable things in the world to them. Some of those, you're not going to have a clue. But it's my story, and it's what I'm saying, and it's the experiences that I've got. And I think that's the most important thing where people need to look at with regards to motivation, and that is that it comes in different places. It's not all about the motivational speakers. You can learn something from everyone, and it's understanding stories and experiences. You know, you've got a lot of stories to tell, you've got lots of things to compare it to, and you didn't wake up and go, oh, I'm going to be a motivational speaker today. You know, it's just people wanted to hear what you had to say, because they, you know, you've gone through something where no one could even begin to imagine. But it also should make people question themselves and what it is that they're doing, because no one's going to stand up, and this is what I said to Mark. I said no one's going to stand up in a seminar, point at Mark and say, mate, you haven't got a clue what you're talking about. Because he's been there, he's done that, he's got a t-shirt, he knows what he's talking about. But because of that, he's got the confidence to stand up there and tell people what they need to hear. And a lot of it is to stop with the... I try not to swear during the day, but I do. Stop with the excuses. Stop blaming other people. Just stop. Okay, because no one wants to hear it. Seriously, your situation isn't that bad. There are people worse off than you that aren't using your excuse. As soon as you understand that, you're like, oh, okay. What can I do about it? What you can do about it is follow me and Mark and keep listening to us. That helps. But it's opening your eyes and your ears and realising that at the end of the day, life's in your control. You control the things that you listen to. As Mark was saying, when you wake up in the morning and you're listening to the news, do you actually need to listen to it? Do you need to hear about all the constant negativity in the world? No. because it's just highlighting stuff that you don't really need to know. Do you need to know about that stuff? No. When you're switching on the radio and you're finding out about all these horrible things that happen in the world, do you need to listen to it? No, because it's setting you up for a bit of a failure day. If you're waking up in the morning and listening to something that fires you up, if you're in your car listening to Mindset with Muscle and Body and the Beast podcast, then you're going to get fired up. If you're watching YouTube videos that motivate you and fire up, you're going to be motivated to get shit done. You're going to go to the gym and smash it. You're going to go into your workplace and smash it. You're going to make other people feel good because you feel good. And what's going to happen is that whole positivity breeds positivity without the joss sticks and without the need to hug a tree.
Yeah.
So
it's really simple. It's just not.
It's complex yet simple, but not enough people talk about it.
Yeah, not enough people do it.
So yeah, I mean, it's amazing to hear Mark's story. Obviously, we had Mark on the podcast last month. There's lots of exciting things in the pipeline for Mark. He was just telling me all the stuff that's going to be going on in 2017, a whole gym revamp as well.
Yep.
I'm going to have to make it my mission to come down in the new year to go and check out his gym. But he does have one. What's the name of the gym?
It's Flex Fitness in Plymouth.
Okay, so Flex Fitness in Plymouth. It's going to have a massive revamp in the new year, and lots of exciting things going on. So, what we want to do now, ladies and gents, is a bit of a Q&A. So, anything that you want to ask Mark, because you don't want to ask me, you know everything. You know, I talk all the time. So, any questions for Mark, or potentially myself, that you want to ask now, say now, or forever hold your peace. Alex and I will most definitely be tuning into this over my lunch break in about 10 minutes. Good to hear, Alex. I'm going to scroll down, but make sure you put your comments in, because if you don't comment, we're just going to leave. We're just going to go. Better things to do.
I apologise for doing this, but my eyesight is pretty poor. And I've got on my glasses.
Ben says he's made some many changes over the 6 months, new job, new gym, and in doing so has changed people around him, so I feel much better. My training is better than ever. Whenever you do a funny landscape, it cuts out long conversations. Drives me rude. Vanessa's glad she's listening to this. Ryan says, I find personally people all too easily judge and assume what you should be doing with regards to any ill health or circumstances people find themselves in, as you say, embracing the good. And Ryan, I know a lot of the struggles that you've been going through as well, so it's nice to have you on there, buddy. Hit him with the flex mark from Pete Simon. Ex-Royal Marine from Christian Regan.
How you doing, Christian? Royal?
Mark, are you training and eating well, just out of curiosity?
Do you want me to be honest with you? Right now, in the month of December, no. Every other month, yes, but I've decided I've had a crazy busy year. I have 3 children, and it's that time of year. So I've relaxed it for this month, but I'm straight back on the bandwagon 1st of January.
My wife says the plumber's here. Thanks, Anna. It's really good. Brian Moody says, great mindset, massive respect. I've done a lot of work at Joe Townsend's ex-Marine double amputee place when he had it built after he stepped on an anti-tank mine in Afghan. Sorry, Brian, because we're in landscape, I missed off that rest of that. What's your website, Mark?
www.markormrod.com. I'm not quite on Jay's level with social media yet, but I'm
he
getting
will
there.
be. We'll get him there.
I've got all the social media channels.
As I said, where can we find you? Our website, Instagram. So we're on Facebook. I've tagged Mark's channel in on here. What's your Twitter, Mark?
At Mark Ormrod, same as the Instagram, same as the Facebook. So Facebook and Twitter have been verified. Instagram not yet. Hopefully soon.
Do you know what? It's driving me up the wall, because obviously my Instagram and Twitter have been verified. There are certain elements. It's not ego. Instagram, if you're verified, you can put links in on videos, which is why I want it. Because I want to put links in on videos, because there's no other channel that can do that. Anyway, Instagram, if you're listening to this, which you're not, so I don't know why I'm saying this, verify it.
Please, Instagram.
Yeah, 3. I need 3. Okay, let's have a look. Ben, love what you're doing, guys. You're right. It's too easy to piss and moan about things that don't really matter. But when everyone around you is doing the same, then it's very hard not to. But also, we all like a whinge and a moan. What's the first question that you ask someone in the UK, the weather's a bit shit, isn't it?
How's it going?
Shit. People like to have a whinge and a moan. It makes themselves feel better. Do you know why? Because they're like, well, at least it makes them feel better because they're like, well, at least I'm not the only one whose life is shit. But in actual fact, you should get fired up by people doing awesome stuff. But what happens with people who look at other people's success? They get bitter, they get twisted, they talk crap about you. Do you know why? Because it holds up a mirror and goes, here.
Yeah.
It makes you realise the things that you're not doing. And your instant defence mechanism to that is to try and justify it. Instead of actually praise that person and going, wow, awesome, good job, how can I do that? Because this is what I said on my Snapchat before. Those people who are where you want to be will probably help you get there a lot easier because they genuinely care about other people. The reason that people become so much successful is because they like to contribute. They like to give back. They like to see other people succeed. You get a nice warm fuzzy feeling when you see someone else take your advice and get a result from it. Why do you think I do body transformations? There's nothing better than passing on my advice and seeing someone change their life. There's nothing better than someone buying my best-selling Mindset with Muscle book and listening, audio coming soon, reading something from that and it changing their life and then getting a message to say thank you. You know, that's phenomenal. Or someone's even taken something away that myself and Mark have said today that they haven't paid a single penny for and it's made them realise something in them. Made them realise that actually they've just been whinging for too long, their excuses are pathetic and you just need to get more shit done. Stop whinging. At the end of the day, frustration doesn't serve you at all. You know, you get frustrated, you have a go at someone, you're still in the same position, you're still unhappy, you're still not where you want to be. So try doing something different. Instead of being frustrated, be motivated. Start asking more questions. You know, start, attending things, start absorbing things, and then see where the success comes with that. Because I guarantee it'll be better than all your bloody whinging and moaning. Right, so look, do you get flashbacks?
Sally,
Yeah.
no, I don't. I'm actually very fortunate in that respect because I won't bore you with it now. I'm gonna go to London after this and tell this on stage tomorrow. But the moment that I got blown up, 99% of the people who I went through rehab with were knocked unconscious. I remember the entire thing from the minute I looked down and saw the devastation to being injected with morphine, to being evacuated, to being put in a vehicle, to falling out the vehicle, to being put on the back of a Chinook helicopter and then dying. Literally died for like 3 or 4 minutes and was put into the corner for a body bag before I was revived. I remember all of that. I don't remember being revived, I remember passing out very calmly, just fading like you would when you were going to sleep, and that was the last thing I remember. So I think because I remember it all, I don't have flashbacks, but some of the guys who were unconscious or who don't remember, unfortunately do get flashbacks. That's just the way the mind works. Something will happen that will trigger it, and it will come from the back to the front, and that's where that comes from. And I know and I recognise and acknowledge that I am very, very fortunate in that respect. But thanks for your question.
This might be a marine one, it might not make anything. How many times in a row can you complete daily up? Does that make sense?
I have no idea what a daily up is.
I have no idea what a daily up is. Sorry.
So 0, I guess.
Yeah. Pablo says, obviously your quality of making amazing body transformations. Well, thank you. But what are your few fundamental things that you have in place to retain your client over a long period of time? Pablo, good question. My strategy in place to retain people over a long period of time is there's no strategy. If I can teach everyone what they need to know so they don't need me anymore, my work is done.
That makes sense.
And the thing is once you know that, then you're not hiding anything from your client. You're not in this fixed mentality where you're worried that your client's going to leave because you're going to be like, what if I tell him everything? He won't need me anymore. Good. he'll turn round to you and he'll go, Jamie, I know everything now. He's not going to know everything. I don't know everything. But he knows enough to keep lean. He knows enough to get a result and keep a result. Thank you. High five, bang. See you later. Now, so-and-so client has not only had a great transformation, but he's kept it, and he is a walking advertisement for my business. Because now he's in great shape, he's got lots of his friends turning around going, wow, you look amazing. How did you do that? Well, I work with Jamie Alderton. And guess what's going to happen? For that one person that I've transformed, 6 people are going to come to me. So, why would I care about that one person who I've transformed their life and try and hold on to him when I've now got 6 people beating down my door? 6 people aren't beating down my door because I don't PT anymore. But if I did, there you go. So I don't focus on client retention, but I also understand is that people don't pay for information, they pay for implementation. Accountability is one of the biggest fundamentals of why you have a personal trainer. You know, when you check in with someone on a Monday, when you're relying on somebody else, you tend to be more motivated, you hold yourself more accountable, and you get better results. There you go. Right, it's Sally. Yeah, James Bazant, he's just leaving the Royal Marines actually.
Okay, cool.
Sally. Sorry, Sally, not Daly, Fat Bombs. Daly? I think people have lost me now. What did you say after you said you remembered everything about being blown up? The film froze at that point. Vanessa, you have to, you can rewind on here. I recently failed my PRMC on the endurance course. Any tips so I can smash it second time round?
First of all, I need to know what you failed on, but I can assume, no I can't assume, the PRMC is pretty simple, right? The Royal Marines is pretty simple. They are not looking for the fittest, fastest, strongest men in on the planet. They are looking for the man that will run and throw up and keep on running. You know, it's 80% mindset, 20% physical attributes. And I can tell you that because I can guarantee that when I went through training, and I was fortunate I went through in one hit from the first day to the last day, 62 started, only 16 of us finished. I was not the fittest man on the planet. I would be in the last 10 at every run. I would be the man throwing up. I would be the man cramping up, but I'd be the man that would never stop. And that's how I got through it. So they're not looking for a guy who can break records or do 5,000 pull-ups or, you know, bound over a building. They want the guy that just keeps on pushing no matter what.
Consistent.
Consistency.
But also keeps going, which obviously that's one of the biggest assets of the Royal Marines. You know, and you've proven that time and time again, Mark, your entire life, that they pick the right person. Because it is, you know, things are difficult, but then people give up too easily. Mm-hmm. They go, oh, it's too hard, instead of just having a bit of a breather and then just carrying on. I was going to go into this really weird thing, which doesn't make any sense to anyone, and it was about, this is really, Mark's going to look at me now and think I've lost the plot. It was on a Teletubbies episode, okay? So the reason I was watching Teletubbies is I do have a 3-year-old daughter, but one of the Teletubbies was walking up the hill, it got a bit too difficult, and he walked back down. And then he walked up a bit more, got a bit too difficult, and he walked back down. And eventually, the 4th time, he got to the top of the hill. Now, there's plenty of stories in that, but the first one is, why didn't he sit on the hill and wait till he get a breather to get up? But the second thing is, like, he kept trying, and he got up. So I don't know where that story came from. I just didn't understand why Tinky Winky decided to walk down the hill instead of sitting on it. But at least it shows perseverance, so there you go. You learn a story from everything, even from Tinky Winky.
There you go.
There you go, and I've lost the plot. I've literally gone insane. Dan says, did you find that skills you learnt within the military, such as discipline and work ethic, help with your journey in the fitness industry?
Is that you or me?
Both, really. We're both in the fitness industry.
Yeah, I mean, I think there are a lot of transferable skills in the military. Work ethic being one of them. Professional standards as well is definitely high on my list. And we had this conversation earlier that the pair of us have struggled, and again, I don't mean this with any disrespect whatsoever, because it's not, I'm not trying everyone with the same brush, but we've struggled to find people that have the same work ethic since leaving the military. Because like Jamie was telling me when he had this place, he was up at 4:45 in the morning. He'd leave her at midnight. Do that for 6 months solid. There's not many people that would do that, and I'm the same. I'm wired the same way, and I think you need that in any business, not just the fitness industry. If you're a business owner, then you need to have that mentality. It's not a hobby. It's real, and if you want to make a success of it, then yeah, you need those attributes, and a lot of them are learned in the military.
And I think one of the biggest takeaways from the military for me is integrity.
Oh yeah.
One thing about the fitness industry, and I think this is one of the biggest reasons, and as I said, this isn't my head going massive or anything like that, but the reason that I've been able to get where I am today is because I'm genuine. There's no hidden agendas in what it is that I'm doing. I've been brutally honest from day one. I've been brutally honest about myself, my strengths, my weaknesses, and I've just told people how it is. Just like, no bullshit. I'm not trying to sell you this magical 6-week wonder program that's going to revolutionise your world and take you back in time and do all this shit. It's just real world things. Here's the fundamentals. Consistency is the key to success, and being constantly motivated, understanding that you need to get out of this kind of all or nothing extreme approach, and finding the reasons why you do things. And a lot of it comes from what I like to call parables. And parables are basically stories that you tell yourself why you're not doing things, stories that people tell you why you're not doing things, and your absorption of those and relatability to them. There's going to be stories which you've heard from Mark today that make you think, what the hell am I whinging about? And that's what we want. It's a parable to take away to help you, motivate you, and get more stuff done with your life. Because if anything, if one person takes something away today from what Mark said, his job's done. He gets this nice warm fuzzy feeling, and he gets to go to sleep at night. Why wouldn't you have integrity in your life? Why wouldn't you have integrity in your business? Because you feel good all the time, you feel more motivated, and what did I say with self-fulfilling prophecies? If what you're doing on a weekly, daily basis is phenomenal stuff which is helping other people, you have immense amount of energy. This is why sometimes I literally have to tell myself to go to sleep, because it gets to midnight, 1 o'clock, and I think, actually, I've got to get up at 5. If I didn't need to sleep, I probably wouldn't. But, I'm human, well, half human, so I've got to do these kind of things that, to look after my human body. I would say diesel power, but it's nothing anymore. I think I've just scripted. Long live and prosper gods. You've lost me there, mate. Jamie, are you likely to go back to being a PT in the future? Any recommendations if not? So Ryan, for me, it's not something, I open up one space a month to train with me. I won't lie, it's ridiculously expensive, but I know that it's worth 10 times that because I value what it is that I'm doing. A lot of it comes down to time. Personal training is very personal, of course. So I'm only able to impact one person at a time. And it's something that I did for many, many years. I was a personal trainer for 4 years. I was, working with a ridiculous amount of clients. Sometimes 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. I've been there and I've done that. But for the things that I can do now, I'm on Facebook Live, I'm doing something, I'm spending an hour of my time and I'm impacting currently 66 people live, and then looking back maybe 10, 15,000, 20,000 people that are seeing this. So personally for me, I'm always going to be in the fitness industry doing kind of personal training kind of things, but I know that I can create a bigger impact by doing other things. So I will always have that personal one-to-one element there now and again, but I'm doing things on a kind of bigger scale. So the answer to your question, if it was a yes or no, is no. Will I be doing it in future? No. Any recommendations? I have 3 phenomenal body transformation coaches down here. Sophie, Ollie and Adam. If you need any personal training, these guys are some of the best in the industry. I know because I've picked them, and they are, you wait till you see some of their transformations that are going to be bombing these channels over the next couple of months. They are absolutely incredible because they're incredible at what it is that they do, and that's getting people results. And look, and Mr. Carson even tunes into my Facebook. So there you go, fantastic. So Mr. Oliver Carson is on. So if you want to message Ollie, who is on now, the guy with the shredded stomach and the Christmas hat on that says yes, yes, message him and let him know, or like his post. There you go, and then he'll get in contact with you. So, any other questions before we pop smoke? Let's see what's in there.
I like that.
It's nice because there's lots of things I usually say which people don't get at all. Oh, you're downstairs? Okay, cool. Anything else, or forever hold your peace? Excellent. Well, that's it from us. Small little plugs. Mark, what is your website? Twitter, Facebook, Instagram again?
Website www.markormrod.com. Instagram, Twitter and Facebook will all be under Mark Ormrod. Nothing fancy, just my name.
And where can people buy your book? When was your book out? 2010 was it?
It was released 2009. It's on Amazon. It's called Man Down. I am currently writing the second one now, in tandem with a documentary that we're going to start filming in a couple of weeks. So all my social media will like that.
And I'm looking forward to seeing the documentary. I'm going to try and make it my mission to get down to Plymouth in the new year to do some stuff with Mark, and I'm going to do a few more bits and bobs with Mark later on next year. And I have been speaking to Mark, and potentially he might be doing a bit of a course for you guys and girls about motivation, about mindset, and something that you could all do online to help you obviously transform your way of thinking and to maximise your performance. So where can you look up the 3 people I mentioned? I will get them to comment below, Ryan. I'll get them to actually message you now and speak to you. So that's it from me.
That's it from me.
Hopefully you enjoyed that, boys and girls. And yeah, one plug from me, Mindset with Muscle. It's on Amazon. It is an Amazon bestseller. Well, I think it's gone to number 2 now, so I'd need you to buy a few more books and get it back to number 1. Thanks for listening, and Mark, thank you ever so much for coming down,
thank you.
Mate. And yeah, exciting times for both Mark and myself, so hopefully you got some value from this, and we'll catch up with you soon. Adios.
Laters.